Welcome to Colorflow Conversations, where we flow freely, speak boldly, and connect colorfully. I am you, Keisha, and this is.
Takesha.
And welcome to our girl chat.
Oh yes,
You're
welcome
supposed
to
to
our
say that
girl
with
chat.
me. You forgot?
Yeah, sorry. I was so busy focused on that I'm a Harvard student.
Listen, there I go with my listen. But I did see that they're offering like complimentary classes to people.
Yeah, the last time I looked, it is in different schools I know do this, but it was like 133, I think, available.
Classes?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and what you have to do is the classes are offered free. Not all. They do have some that have a fee. Okay. But if you want the certification, like one that I signed up for, the certification, this is the thing, like they always try and get you. It was a certain amount, like as soon as you signed up, but then when I skipped it, I think it dropped like 2 more times. But I'm like, do I really want the paper? Actually, yes, I do.
So, do you mind me asking, like, what classes you chose?
So I chose the classes that were in humanities and like philosophy because that is my main interest.
Okay.
So like the one class that I have now is actually called Omens and something else. I can't remember, but yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2 classes.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, girl. So you actually started?
I have not started them yet because this is the thing. I got all of these things that I'm enrolled in classes, and I'm just like, your plate is already full.
Yeah.
But you're adding it to get fuller. But I do have every intentions on starting today.
So it's not one where you have to log in at a certain time. It's at your own.
No, it's at your own pace.
Oh, I do like that.
I actually came across a creator on TikTok who said he took this particular one and he was just like, he finished it in 2 days.
Really?
But when you really interested in something,
yeah.
Because like how my metaphysical classes are the same way. Like it's at your own pace. They say like you should finish it within a year's time. But I remember when I first started the bachelor's program, I was just constantly reading. But when it feeds your interest, you keep it going.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I actually consider that, but now that you have given me a little more information that you can do at your own pace, I am going to look more into it.
And they have all different kinds. Like it's some computer programming, I believe. It's all different areas.
Really? So the humanities classes, you can get a certificate with those?
Yeah, I think all of them you can.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just don't think any of the certificates are free.
Got you.
So I was just like, Mama, look at your daughter going to Harvard.
I wonder, because the people who actually got like degrees from Harvard, I wonder how they feel about it, because a lot of people that actually have to go for the 4 years and study and do this, they be kind of feeling a certain way, like you ain't really a Harvard student.
I mean, I would be like that.
Okay.
But because I'm on the other end, and I'm like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. So
that's one thing about me is it's easy for me to put myself in other people's shoes and understand that point of view, because a part of me, that's why I'd be like, I'm the perfect balance of good and evil, because you know what? Yes. If I went to an Ivy League school and you talking about you taking some certification classes, you is not about to take nothing away from me. But because I feel like I'm just as smart as someone that could have gotten, you know what Harvard. I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, hey,
absolutely.
Being your biggest fan, I guess, wins.
I see that a lot with celebrities getting honorary doctorates and things like that. And people are like, they
don't deserve it, but I feel like you're still putting in a decent, if not maybe more amount of work, struggle, and grind to get those things. Because just because I'm not doing a particular academic program does not mean I'm not doing anything academically on my own.
I got you.
I just might not be in a classroom setting with a professor.
Because all learning is not in the classroom.
No, it's not. So I support those honorary degrees, and I'll be glad, and I'll probably have my speech ready when I get mine.
Not hardly any of my learning was in the classroom. No. I mean, I just have not, even though it's crazy because I'm big on education with my children, but I'm a example of, you don't have to be, not tooting my own horn, but you don't have to be like classroom
Toot your horn, sis. We need to toot our horns more often. Toot, toot.
It just, I'm an example of, you don't have to be in a classroom to be successful.
Yes. I am not a fan of education. I used to be, and I believe that that was how I was raised, and it was instilled in me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a part of my reward system.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I got good grades,
yeah.
I got rewarded. But now, as an adult, I realize how much the educational system has failed us.
Big time. Hugely failed us. I've never.
And as the world evolved, and I mean, I don't know, because my only child is 30, but I do know, like my youngest niece was struggling with like learning the time. And I get that, and I definitely think it's important, but at the same time, most clocks are digital.
Yeah.
So it just made me wonder about, and teachers chime in. I know a teacher in education that's going to watch this. So I wonder, like, as time evolves, how much of the education system has evolved with time and technology.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're definitely nowhere where we were. Like, I learned on the typewriter.
Yeah.
They getting iPads of bringing laptops or whatever, whatever.
And I think my big on education is not big per se, like what maybe a college parent is. My big on education is, you want to go, then, do what you got to do to go for free. And, I don't.
Okay, that I agree with. Not to cut you off, but that's where I come from. If this is something that you want to do, I'm supporting you.
Yeah,
I'm that parent though. Whatever Jordan wanted to do, as long as he wasn't jumping off a bridge, I'll support him.
Yeah, and that part, because if my kids decided not to go, then I would be perfectly fine with that. But if you want to go, then, and I don't particularly like push like you got to get straight A's. I'm like, C's to get degrees. I told my son that, like, you ain't got to be on Dean's list.
I remember a friend, like when I first was going to college, and I remember a friend of mine, she graduated, like almost with like all A's and B's, very high GPA, and her friend was an engineer and did not do very well, but still graduated. And right out of college, I think during that time, she started like at 50-60K, which was a lot of money back then.
Yeah. I
cannot believe, like, I'm really an adult where I can say certain things. It's just like, yeah, back then
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm like, if you want to go, then we're gonna make it happen for you to go. But I also feel like life lessons is important to me. If they didn't want to go, I absolutely would help them find a way to be successful in life without going.
Yes.
One thing that I told my son when he started going was, it's important for you. Yeah, it's important for you to go to your classes. Don't miss, and do the best you can, but build relationships and make connections, because really that's how you kind of get through in life too.
But I also believe that you've instilled that all along, because even with your daughter not going to a traditional high school,
yeah,
that you've actually paid attention to, like how we talked about the kids knowing their parents as individuals. I think you did a very good job of knowing your children as individuals and their interests, and supporting them with the things that they're interested in.
I know a lot of parents, and what you're saying, because her school is not around the corner, and actually neither one of their schools were. I did not mind driving And my son used to have to be at school because he was an athlete. He used to have to be at school like 6:30 a.m. multiple days a week. This was before he was driving. And me and my daughter would get up and go and sit in the car. Then with her, she'll eat breakfast in the car. Then I take her to her school. And I know people who be like, I'm not driving all the way across town for, and I don't think anything's wrong with that. Everybody make their choices, but when you know what's best for your child, you can't think about yourself when it comes to that. Like, I don't feel like doing this. You don't feel like it? Do you?
I think something is wrong with that. And I don't say it in a judgmental way because I don't care what people do. But I think that the problem is now where, how we talked about choices matter. Like, if you know that your child is talented in this area and you decided to become a parent, can't you make better decisions? And not all circumstances make it easy.
Yeah.
I was a single mom, so it was not easy, for me. I remember you was part of the tribe picking him up. I worked almost an hour away from his high school.
Remember, yeah.
So I'm not saying that it's easy, but I'm also saying that we have gifted children. And if we instill in them at that young age, some of the things that we had to go through and don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
they may not have to experience because it's not, and I think we talk about how it's just like, oh, your parents want you to be better than them. I believe that sometimes in our culture, we judge better than them based on the things that we have and not the quality of life.
That part. That's we do. The quality of life is important to me.
Because I stand 10 toes down and I do not care what anybody say. I want my son to exercise his freedom. And to me, that means living a relaxed life.
Same.
Not going to a job, hating his life every day, because every day I go to a job that I struggle with going with. Like, I'm in the process of retraining my brain. So yesterday or whatever day, someone a couple weeks ago, really close to me, was just like, look at it like it's allowance. So I started thinking about that and changed my perception, because I said, oh, well, we all have chores.
Mm-hmm.
Some people clean up, wash their own dishes, do all of that. My chore is going to work. So when I get that paycheck, then that's my allowance. So maybe I'll look at it like, oh, I just have these 8 hours of chores today. And I guess simply whatever I need to do to change my mind frame from I hate my job.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily hate the job. I just want freedom.
You want freedom. You want, I don't think you hate your job.
Yeah.
If you could do it on your own time when you felt like it.
Yeah. It would be great.
It would be great.
So it's just like, and I think that a lot of things, and I'm not saying, because I know entrepreneurs grind, but when you're doing something you love, I could do this with you all day long.
Same, girl.
All day, every day.
Yeah. Literally all day, every day. I can do, but even when you do what you love, you have like some rougher days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, I do what I love, and sometimes,
but I think, do you think that just comes with like life in general?
Yeah. It's just everybody is not going to be your client. Everybody is not going to be a fit for you, and that may make your day a little harder or a little more difficult. So, and I've had those days where I'm like, where I felt like, usually when I leave work, I don't be like bust down tired. I'm still good. But those days, it's been a rough day because I feel drained, and it's like, oh my God, what in the world happened today? But most days it's not like that. But when you do have that day where you get, and that also comes with people like already like I can tell, and I'm sure hairstylists or whoever can tell when you're gonna have a difficult client when they walk in the door. That if you have discernment, and you can feel the energy of, oh, this is not about to go well. This is about to be difficult for me, and I can feel that, and I just be like, okay.
That made me think about something the other day, as we always, this is why we can do it every day, because we watch TikTok every day and we can always have a topic for TikTok.
Yes.
I don't remember what the creator said, like what the video was about, but in the comments, she said that she believes that girls are just a group of narcissistic women. What you said made me think about feeling the energy, or how sometimes when a woman walks in the room, you can kind of read a person. Like most people can read people, male or woman, you know what I'm saying? You can be like, I said male or woman, it would be male or female. But you can kind of be like, oh.
Yeah, you can.
But that comment, I thumbs downed it.
Did you?
It bothered me because I'm a girl's girl. And I don't think I ever thumbs down the comment before, but I was just like,
I'm a scroller by, even if I feel like thumbs down.
I was just like, I don't think that I believe that girls are narcissistic women. Like it's a group of narcissistic women.
I don't believe that's true, because I'm a girl's girl, just like you. I look at women all the time and I compliment them, and the compliments are genuine. Like if it's something about her I like, I could tell her, girl, you got some pretty eyes. Anything. I'm not doing it sarcastically or not. I just won't say anything.
Right. Because when I think of narcissistic women, like at the core, it's like, oh, it's just all about me. And I believe that, and I also believe that being a girl's girl doesn't mean that you have to have a group or a whole lot of girlfriends.
I think that comment that they made probably was thinking, because you think of maturity level, they probably was thinking about a group of friends that always hang out, or girls trip and it's always a problem or something like that. And then it's been these videos out now where girls, I can't remember who it was, said that she won't take her best friend somewhere because she don't fit the aesthetic or something like that. That ain't them not girls.
Right.
Them are not even really friends.
Exactly. Like at the core, they're not friends.
They're not friends.
That's a mean girl.
Yeah, that's a mean girl. Like that comment was not true. If you're a girl's girl, you're not narcissistic. You are a girl who is going to celebrate another woman.
Yes. You want to see that woman shine. Yeah. I never feel less than.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we talk about this before. Like, I don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I don't have to reveal everything that I know, because I want to learn from someone. And I think that comes with being a girl's girl too, is being supportive and celebrating another person's wins.
You know, it's so funny. I was talking to my sister on the way here. We were just talking about this. This is how I be in alignment. Because I don't even know how we got on the subject. She asked me, was I invited to some event? And I was like, oh, no. I was like, no. And it was somebody that we know from church growing up or something like that. And we got into the conversation about, how we were okay not being invited to stuff, even if it's people we grew up with and we see on social media they have an event or whatever. And we started talking about people. I told her about a situation where I know somebody have an issue with me, like right now, and it started from childhood. And I said, I've always been kind to them. I've never been like mean. But I knew in my heart, discernment, that they have an issue with me. And it's a girl. And she was just like, really? And I said, yeah. I said, but because I know where it stems from, that's her healing to do. And even when I see her, it's still love from me. But and again, this ain't to be braggadocious, because I don't know why anybody would be. I never felt like, oh, I'm jealous of this person and they got this great life and I don't have. And I think growing up as a pastor's daughter, and people put you in a box, and I think this person looked at me and probably my sister in a box like they think they all that and they get everything they want. And I went on, really, I was a people pleaser trying to make this person like me, growing like, hey, hi y'all, hey, let's all do this, let's, when now I'm like, that issue is still there, and I'm still gonna show love because I'm a girl's girl, and I just pray that the healing happen at some point. But you know, it's just
I commend you for that because I am not that mature.
I am.
I am a girl's girl, but I am not that mature.
If you know a person like have some type of animosity with you,
yeah, it's
really,
yeah,
you would not speak.
If you speak to me first, I'm not about to speak to you.
I don't see them often, but when I do see them, I can't say who speak first. I'm sure I've spoken first at some point.
Yeah, I'm not speaking first. I literally, let me tell you something about me. I cough in people. So when I don't mess with you no more, you're coughing. So if I see you, you're a zombie. You're only coming alive if you use your words. And because I'm like, in my book, zombies don't talk. They just. So if you use your words, then I'll speak. But you
know what? I guess that a part of me though is like, I am probably big on you ain't gonna never know that or ever think that I care about how you feel about me.
Oh, and see, I don't look at it like that.
Okay.
Because I don't care how you feel about me, but I need you to know that I don't give a fuck about you. And I need it to be clear.
Oh, God. Yeah, I can see that. And we still go.
I fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. So even if that, because she ain't never.
I have a friend that I am really close with. And this is a mutual person that I know does not like me. And before we've, been around each other several times. And I think before I felt the energy, because I always feel it. But after my mother passed, it got heavier, where it was just like, oh, okay. So, I just got to the point to where I was just like, yeah, I'm just not putting myself in that situation anymore. Yeah. Where before I would just go around, I was never like, hey, it was just like, we in the same room.
Yeah.
But and actually this person has several people that give me that energy.
Yeah.
But I think now it's just, I'm not going to say I removed myself. I think that my friend is more aware of it and just removes me from those situations. Yeah.
Y'all never had a conversation about it. They just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was briefly like not a conversation for me trying to figure out. I think I said like, I can just tell it's just something that she don't care for me. So yeah.
I think when I was probably in my teens or maybe early 20s, me and this person had a conversation and I thought we was about to have just a general, hey, conversation. But we did have a conversation, and they were telling me that I never, it was something I never did. I can't remember. I'm half a century old now. I can't remember. But whatever they were saying that I did, I was looking like, my face was looking like, huh? Because it goes back to probably our earlier days of doing this podcast where I would always be like, do you know me? Like, I'm the people pleaser. Well, at that time I was. And they were like, you never do this, you never. And I was just like, and this is somebody I grew up in church with. So I'm like, huh? Like, don't you see me every week? Like, I am not who you think. And so after I realized, I was like, oh, that their issue is going to always be there. And when they heal from it, I'll know. So when I see them now, I'm just like, hey.
I am just great. So I do not understand when people.
I love that. You said, I am just great. Don't like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm a valuable asset.
Yeah.
And I know that every relationship that I have in my life, I bring value.
Yeah, absolutely.
And most of the people that are no longer in my life were not bringing me value.
I agree. I believe about myself. I can acknowledge my flaws, but outside of my flaws, I'm a great person.
Yeah. I
And
know my flaws too.
yeah,
Y'all talking about them on here. You see,
yeah,
my flaw
yeah,
might be
yeah. I'm a great. I do my best to be a great friend. I'm learning how to be a great sister. I've always been a great daughter. Uh, but as far as your relationships with other people, friendships and everything, I'm like, man, when I think back on the people that's not in my life and do your self check, like, was this me? Most time it wasn't.
most time mine wasn't either. And I think a lot of times in my situation is that I have been a mirror. So I've reflected something that needed to be worked on. And people don't always want to work on what they
Their
need to
stuff,
work
yeah,
on. And not
yeah,
saying that I'm better than anybody. I just know my role.
yeah, yeah,
And that's a part of it where some stuff that I just know. And it's just like something, because my thing is, if you just simply don't like me from my appearance, like how you said, like appearing to have everything,
yeah, yeah,
then that's some soul searching that needs to be done. And I know my flaws. I know that I can have my ways, and I can be impatient, and I can be quick to snap back. I get that. And like I said before, I can be the passive aggressive. I know these things about me, but I know at the core, if you are in my life
yeah.
and I F with you, I
Mm-hmm.
got your back.
Period.
That's just who I am.
Yeah. Period. That's it. That's it. That is, and the difference I believe with you and I that I don't see with, I would say a lot of people I know, um, self awareness. Um,
People are not
People will not,
self-aware, and
yeah,
then when you bring it to them, they feel attacked
they
and
feel
want to
attacked.
cry.
Yeah.
Whereas if you bring something to me, let me know, because I'm trying to grow. And
Yeah.
in my mind, I feel like I've always been like that, but I don't know if I was always perceived like that, because
Yeah.
a lot of me wasn't as soft as I am now. So
Yeah.
sometimes when you come off
Yeah.
harder, people think that you
Yeah.
are hard, so to
Yeah.
speak.
But we're very self aware of and we'll take accountability.
Yes.
I tell my clients, I told a client recently, I did a bridal consultation, and she she liked her makeup, but because she sent me pictures and we did it like the picture, but always it don't translate on you how it does on the picture. And so she really didn't have that vision for her wedding. After it was done, she was just like, she didn't like it, and she was trying to tell me in the most, and I said, girl, I'm not easily offended. I'm not one of these people that's gonna get mad at you where, well, you said you won't. I said,
Like,
listen, this is your
your
day.
day.
This is your day. I was like, everything I do, everybody not gonna like. I said, so I'm not easily offended. I'm not mad or anything. I said, you can either decide if you want to do another trial, or you can decide if you want to go to somebody. I will be okay. I said, and she just started laughing like, I'm so glad that you are like that, because a lot of people, I said, it's okay. It's okay. I said, let's start over. And once we did that, she was happy, because you can't think you perfect in your craft. You can't think that you just know everything. You can't think I'm the best and everybody gonna like what I do. I don't care. And everybody always say, everybody know you. I'm like, that don't mean that nothing to me. I care about who's in the chair right now. I don't care that somebody think I'm popular or everybody, because I don't see myself in that way. I see who's in my chair right now. I need to make this person feel good. And I need to be self-aware that if they don't feel good, then let me fix
What you can.
what I can. So she was just like, I am so glad that you, and we started over, and then we got it right. It was like, it was like, okay, I told her, I said, when people bring pictures, it don't always be like, you be thinking, I like this look right here. But sometimes may be like, you know what? I thought I liked that look, but I don't really like that look on me.
I get it, because it made me think about styling.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you can see an outfit and it be so cute, but when you put it on,
Yeah.
it's not, because your body and
Don't
shape
fit
and
that.
everything don't fit that.
I am learning to be even more self-aware. Because I don't, and I think just like you, I think you were similar to this way too. I don't want to have conversations that's going to make me feel drained, or so I may listen, but I don't have nothing to say. I I don't have, I don't want to talk about it. I'm I'm a figure it outer. I'm a fix it. I'm a, I came here and told you today, like something happened with my car, and I was just like, you know what, God?
I'm gonna say this, and I know, and I'm just gonna say this because this just, me and my personality. And we talked about this before with astrology, with us being sister signs. And so I believe Virgo is an earth sign.
Yeah.
So that makes you a little bit more grounded, where you're going to figure it out. But where me being a water sign, and then my big three are all water. So I'm going to be a bit more in the emotions, where I am going to figure it out, because I think that comes at the core of who I am.
Yeah.
But I got a lot more emotions where I may have
Wave
those.
of the water.
Yeah. So we don't know. I may talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely believe with you really fit that, like,
to a T.
Yeah.
To almost a when I look at other Virgos that I know,
like
Beyonce, Kiki Palmer, it's another person who's a Beyonce is a big one. I look at, like, not saying I'm like Beyonce, but
go.
This I do got a cousin that calls me Beyonce. Did I ever tell you that?
No, but that like go
on the list. My cousins called, one of my cousins called, she been calling me Beyonce for years, and she calls my daughter Blue Ivy.
Take it.
But the similarities, when I look at how she handled stuff, I could see, like, oh, that's a Virgo trait. Like, maybe, I don't know if all Virgos have it, but the balance of just being grounded, and ain't nothing gonna rock you. Somebody could say something about you, drag your name. It ain't changed nothing.
Yeah, and if it does rock, because I think it rocks, and I know for her that it rocked me, but she comes back with the visuals. It doesn't. You can rock the boat, but you're not gonna sink me.
Yeah, and I don't come back with visuals, but I figure it out. I don't know. Maybe I ground myself, and just, I don't let myself get so heated. I probably have in the past, but now, being self-aware, I don't. I just be like, if it's something that's getting on my nerves, I'm like, oh well, it's getting on my nerves, but whatever, and then, like I said, it was an issue with my car and my daughter, and for like 10 minutes, I just went a little crazy. And then I was just like, you know what? Let me think about it. God, thank you. Because sometimes things happen to, when you thinking everything's fine, and you gotta be rocked a little bit to, remind you of, this could have been worse, and everything is not gonna be perfect. Life happens, and what's gonna happen? What you gonna do when life rock you? How are you gonna handle that?
Let me tell you, because I explained to you that we had a similar, not the same, but car at the course. So when it happened, because I am routine, and when I have my mind set on something, like, my boat is rocked, and I'm just like, okay. So that's number one. I stick to routine. The other thing about me is that I try to interpret everything for what the bigger meaning is. So I am learning, again, working on retraining my mind that while I do believe everything works together, and there's symbolism involved, I am trying to understand that I may not need to decode it, or I may not be able to decode it at the time, and life is understood backwards. So when that happened to me, I was the same way. I said, the one thing that's going to happen when you purchase an automobile is something may go wrong with it. You may not purchase an automobile and never have trouble. Every car that I've ever had, and my most recent ones, like your car, straight off the lot. I had my last vehicle like 2 weeks, and the screen went out. It was brand
really?
new. I don't even know if
I
it was
remember
2
that.
weeks.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So it was just like, do you get mad, go crazy? You know what I'm saying? Knock your whole frequency off and make it a big deal, or do you realize that you own an automobile and you take the steps that you need to get the automobile repaired? And I'm not saying that it's always easy and comfortable, because things happen where you don't have money to fix it. I remember finally getting the air conditioning, but I'm a homeowner and it's hot. And if you want central air, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, so I had to calm myself down and said, okay, it might be knocking you off for your routine, but who knows? Maybe it's, delaying you, detouring you for something else. And it's a car. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm an adult child. So at the end of that, I was just like, I'm going to just call my daddy anyway.
At least you have that luxury. I just
Keisha, you have that luxury too. That don't mean that he gonna fix it.
I know. I can call him.
We can call him.
I
we
can
still
call
have that, but that don't mean he gonna fix it. He gonna tell me 100,000 things that could be the possibility around it, though. He ain't gonna necessarily fix it, because as long as I got a job, I'm cut off. That's why I need that husband. I got a question. Speaking of the husband,
go ahead.
Sorry. So how we were talking about girls, and last week, because this has really been on my mind last week, since I told you how I have this coworker that I chat with. I don't know anything about him. I'm assuming that he's married because he has 3 children. So
why are you assuming, though?
So I'm just assuming. For the context of this conversation, okay, it'll make sense.
Okay.
I grew up not necessarily it ever being said verbally that men and women cannot be friends, but I grew up under that impression
that they can't be friends.
That they cannot. And I remember before you disclosed how your mother had the friend that she talked to
every day.
And I know, like in my life, I know females who have more guy friends than they do female friends. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have both, but I struggle with that, because why do you need a friend other than me?
Well,
this is something that, while we're talking about being self-aware, and I know that I want a divine masculine to take care of me.
Let me ask you this. He's talked about his kids, but not a wife?
Correct. But I think it may be the context of the conversation.
Okay.
Where I may say something like my son, and it's just like, oh, my son too. Uh-huh. Not necessarily, but I also know that there's other people that, and I don't know how I know this, like, am I making this up? That have been like, where our kids, or made sure that they put it out there that there's a significant other.
Yeah, I think the correct way to have an opposite sex friend is for your spouse, if you're married or in a relationship, to be aware of it. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, if, like, my closest male friend is in a relationship, I know she know me. We've all been around each other. Our kids are cool, and it ain't like we all hang out all the time. You know what I'm saying? But it's aware that there's a friendship. Um, I think if a person is in a relationship, that's how it should be, and there is nothing done to make the other person uncomfortable. So I don't be trying to be all in their business, or I don't be calling all the time, and I don't it's not like that. We're just friends, and I respect the relationship. And if a person respects it, you know. Now when a person disrespects it, you know. Now if a girl is calling all times of night, like hey hey all the time, then I find issue with that.
So I wonder if this can be interpreted that it's a spider, that I'm insecure because I want again, I'm your friend.
And then and I'm gonna tell you this: there are other men that I'm just friends with. Literally,
Because
just
I don't have no men friends. Like I know
you've had men friends though.
Yeah, and you know why I stopped talking to most of them? Because they had significant others. Because let her be your friend.
But I think this. I think we don't hang like when we say friends. It's not like I hang out with my male friends. I don't do that. I'm not. I'm not going out with you.
I don't even want to talk to you. I mean, you're not in a coffin when I am in person. When I see you, I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
But that's it. You're an acquaintance. So I'm struggling with this because I know my man has females in his life.
Oh my God. A lot of them.
And you are right for that. So I need to get a book. Like for real though, like real talk, not even trying to be funny. Like this is something that I really need to work on to get this, because I don't know where this stems from. You know what I'm saying? And I know everything comes from childhood, but I don't know where this stems from. Because I never experienced either one of my parents having relationships with the opposite sex.
And maybe that's how I am.
And maybe that's why, because when I think about the core of my whole entire family that I grew up being around, I don't ever, like, the guys had guys and the girls had girls, and you know what I'm saying? So I don't.
My mother, I don't know if I said this on here. I don't know if I just told you privately about my mother's, her best friend.
I think we talked about it on here, but don't quote me.
Yeah, it was a pastor, and him, our churches used to fellowship. Him and my dad was friends, and he was married, and then they all became couple friends. And then he was so funny. You know, did you know him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was funny.
Yeah, that's what I said. Did you know? I had to ask because he's since passed away, but he was so funny and crazy. Like they talk like, I remember we was in elementary school, and he would call our house either to talk to my mama or my daddy. But most of the time he's calling to talk to his sister, who was my mama. And if me and my sister answer the phone, whichever one, he'd be like, which ugly one is this? You know, we'll always joke and laugh. And that was her brother. That was like, they would laugh, and the conversations were not hidden. She'll talk to him for a minute, and my daddy be sitting on the couch, she'll be like, here, he want to talk to you. They both will be, so there was a security there that, and they didn't talk to now my mother was friends with his wife too, but she wasn't a big person talking on the phone. When they got together in person, they always laughing and talking, but she wasn't a big talker on the phone. He was always the one on the phone, like, hey, but I think he did that with more than just my parents. He called my uncle. They were friends. But my mother was like his sister. And I think when I think about her friendships, she didn't have a lot of female friends. Her sisters were her friends. Like me and my sister talk on the phone every day. That's the only female I talk to on the phone every day. Her sisters were her friends. But when I think about outside friendships, who she talked to and kicked it with, daily. It was hip up until the day he passed. And I even now, like, how you think back on stuff like, oh, you know what, that wasn't right. That I had a feeling. I don't have that feeling about that.
And I'm thinking about it because, and I may, have this tainted view that I'm trying to work through, because most of my male friends, I think at the core has some type of attraction to me.
But even think about my
And then,
friend that's one of my friends that's a male friend that is in a relationship, does not do anything disrespect. You got to think about that. Does not do anything disrespectful to the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Don't be trying to come over my house. Does not be trying to go out secretly. We don't have secret conversations. And that's also because of, you get people as a line, because of his relationship with God as well. It just don't be like that, no matter what.
so I'm wondering, because I think I've had very minimum, and again, like maybe 10 out of 10 of them at some point had expressed some type of interest, even if it was the fake flirtation.
Yeah.
So I wonder if, like, this experience that I'm going through now, because, and I say this all the time, like, I literally have no men in my life outside of my son and my father. So I'm wondering if, because like I said, everything got to have a meaning to me, if this is my way of seeing that you can have and I use friendship loosely, but you can chit chat with someone and it not be like,
think about it. Think
about
it.
Come over.
Listen, you think about it. We have a high school friend that calls me his best friend. There has never been anything. We don't even be talking on the phone but when we get together, we have meaningful conversation.
And I think after that's what I'm trying to work through, because at the core, I'm like, he like you, because that's just how my brain goes.
But if he liked me, think about it. He's had plenty of opportunity. I'm single. He's single. We don't go on dates. We don't. I think the last time we seen each other was, I don't even, this has been this year. It was like, hey, let's meet for lunch or something. It was probably this year, because it was in June. It's probably this year, back in the wintertime or something. But we don't engage with each other like that. If he was interested more, and I ain't saying, yeah, I don't know. He don't give me that impression. He give me friendship impression.
I am wondering what I need to do to work through this.
I don't know.
To conclude that men and women can have, is the word platonic
friendship. I can tell you this, there have been times I've been in a relationship that I was very uncomfortable with, friendships that, whoever I was with had with somebody, and I was always right. You got to kind of use you can't, I won't judge everybody in that way, because I know people that are just, it's a guy that,
let me say this. You know what I hate about life on earth? Is when you have certain experiences, like how you said in the box, like we really are in a box.
Yeah.
So because of this box that I've been in, and I haven't seen those relationships, somewhere in my brain has convinced me that they don't exist, and literally it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
I gotta get out this box.
I believe that my male friends have helped me, and I'm not saying like I got a whole bunch of them. I know a lot of men, but I don't call them all friends.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, disclosure. Friends is used loosely.
Select
with across the board.
Yeah, across the board. It's a select, maybe handful that are just my friends that I would actually call if I had a question about something, or like a car situation or whatever. I like, hey, what do you think about this? Or if I was dating, when I was dating kind of heavily, I did have a male friend that I would tell about every situation. Like, what do you think about this? And he would let me know, like, yeah, he like you, or no, you don't want to deal with that. It just, I I've had my male friends for what I need them for.
Yeah, and like I said, I had well, I guess he's still my friend. I don't talk to him. But anyway, he's still in my friend group. He ain't in a coffin. And I remember talking to him about other relationships, but I mean, the truth of it is, we had a relationship. So,
but do you, okay?
like,
so that's the question. Do you think that you can't just be friends with somebody you've had a relationship with? I believe I can because I am friends with people that I've had relationship. Most of the some of well,
all of mine have still been inappropriate.
Mine haven't.
So I think that's where almost they all been inappropriate.
Mine haven't. Mine have not stayed in the.
And maybe this is something else for me to think about too. I'm sorry, my mind is going 100 miles an hour right now. It's the shift in how I said certain people who I don't talk to anymore. Like maybe the people that are in my life and that may come into my life are more in alignment with where I'm at, because today we talked about God, and I put in there like, don't report me, because at work you got to be sensitive about certain things. Yeah. But that's a topic that we had never even discussed before.
Like I said this before, a lot of men that we get involved with physically because we were not.
And that's something else that just made me think, like, sometimes that you don't break that soul tie just because you break up with them.
No, what I was going to say is some of them were only meant to be our friend.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, once you be intimate, sometimes that creates. Yeah, you didn't gave them in a part of your
like portal. I believe that I've said this before. When I met my ex-husband, I think he was just supposed to be my friend. I think we would have been good friends, but because neither one of us right with God, and you do, you know what I'm saying? You automatically think this is what it's supposed to be. I believe we were supposed to be, because you know him. He was funny. But when you go the route you're not supposed to go, it leads to, so where we are is where we are. But a lot of people we get involved with physically or, relationship wise, even if it ain't physical, even if they just like you or think they like you or whatever, it's just supposed to be your friend.
I think I get that. And I'm thinking about the intimacy on a spiritual level too, when I said like the soul tie. And I don't mean that as deep as like people trying to go. I mean it on a surface level. Because if I'm with you intimately and I have not necessarily worked on myself to close that door, it's still open years down the line, even though we're talking about other things, because you haven't healed whatever. I haven't. So that's still, even though we cool talking, you talking about your wife, I'm talking about who I'm dating, then you come up and say something inappropriate because that area in the middle that should have never been open was never closed.
And see, I mean, you know another ex of mine.
All of mine are closed.
You know another ex of mine that is actually married, and we've been. I mean, I think I dated that fool when I was probably 18, 19. I said fool. I'm sorry, but we could literally today, if we picked up the phone, we could talk about anything and laugh as friends, and when I see his wife, it's like, hey, we hug and greet each other. And it's because the door is closed. And there is no desire at all to, you know what I'm saying, to rekindle anything with that. It's like, nah. We literally, and I will consider that person, even though they've made me mad over the years at times, but I think that's friends.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Friendships are not easy.
And even though we've gotten mad at each other over the years at certain things, I just be like, you're just stupid. That's just dumb. But you can have that conversation with a friend, and then we can talk about it and be like, okay, I forgive you, I'm sorry, and still be friends. And I don't think we've talked in a while either. But I think that he has a beautiful family. And I believe that the wife he has is the wife God has for him. as a friend, I can see that. So, you know, I think that you have to close the I don't want to say your mind to. I just think you have to close that. Oh, we've everybody's always been. You know, I would think. I'll say this. One of your you say you ain't got no exes, but one of your exes
And could you respect that? One of
okay,
these fools I used to talk to,
one,
they talk to.
one of these fools that you used to talk to. I keep saying fools. Sorry, sir.
They fools. In my instance, they fools.
I think that y'all had a friendship, and I think that he was probably just supposed to be your friend. And
I guess I'll find out who she talking about.
I say this, over the years, he's come back and visited you and checked on you. And when he see you out, he like, hey, Keisha, what's up? You know, I think that he probably was just supposed to be your friend. And
this is so wild. I have no clue who she talking about.
How you don't know?
Because they all be like that. That's the sad truth.
You let him in when one of your current boyfriends was here.
Oh. Him.
Yes. If I think about...
Okay, so I never viewed him as not being my friend. I never viewed him as somebody I was dating.
You only viewed him as a friend?
Yeah. Definitely the perfect example of friend with benefits.
But I'm saying he should have been a friend with no benefits. He should have just been your friend.
Yes, he should have. This was pre-celibacy. This was pre not knowing that absolutely. You could survive without certain needs.
Absolutely. But if you had met him where you are now, then I believe that y'all just would have been cool. Just I mean, y'all still cool.
Okay, so now that I think about this, no.
Well, not where you are now, but
no, because backtrack, we got to that point because when we first met, that was the second time around that you talking about in high school. Yeah.
I still think he's just supposed to be your friend.
He probably was. I ain't knocking that, but it started out with a romantic interest. It never started out with friendship. It was the romantic interest. Then we went to being friends, and then it was friends with benefits. So now we cool.
Y'all still cool?
Yeah.
He in your friend circle?
Yeah.
Because if you need him,
he gonna be here.
He gonna be there. Absolutely. So, and he could be there now. Would you say without some type of romantic interest?
No.
He always gonna say something.
Yes. He's a whore. And we're on the close. Okay. Love him to death.
Oh God, listen, the whole world love him. He said, no, he's a whore. Sorry, sir.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna work through this. I don't want my husband to have no friends but me.
You think that Jay-Z got female friends?
Beyonce. I don't think he got female friends. Okay. I think he got Beyonce. I think he may have some people that work for him or business things, but I don't think he's shooting the shit with nobody but Beyonce.
I don't think so either. I think early on he probably did. But now I saw him walk through the 40/40 Club, a video the other day, and women were like, oh my God. And he didn't even shake nobody's hand. He was just like, hey, you know, I was like, his whole demeanor is different. But I think that don't mean that he don't have people that he grew up with that he ain't cool. But I'm sure that they probably, like I said, she's probably entangled in that. We don't know that what the, you know.
This is true, but in my mind, Beyonce his friend. Takesha is your friend, husband. Okay, let's be clear. The rest is employees and they to help. I don't know if I can get through this. Stay tuned next week and let's see.
Listen, thank y'all for joining us today. We want y'all to like, listen, subscribe, share, Hey, tell us if y'all have male or female friends because this is a hot topic for real. Um, I'm not sure a lot of women and men deal with that. They don't want their spouse. I can't really say that I want a husband that got a lot of female friends. I'm just talking about what I got right now. I'm not setting myself up for if I.
But you're saying that you understand the dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, I'm coming from a place where I don't necessarily understand the dynamics, and I cannot believe you said that I opened the door while somebody else was here.
You opened like, your man was here, and you opened the door for your ex-man, and they both was here.
I'm that girl.
Listen, I'll never forget it, y'all. It was crazy.
When we go live, we can talk about it.
Yes, we gotta talk about that because I'm sure somebody else would be like, and they didn't kill you.
Listen. Or leave.
No, nobody left. Like, listen, subscribe, share. Tell us what y'all think in the comments. Tell us if y'all ever experienced this stuff, and we'll see y'all next week.